Thank you all for joining us for this episode of the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. We're going to be talking about the owners' meetings. What's the mantra? What did we hear as Paton and Penner all took to the microphone? Also, ranking the AFC West pre-draft and April Fools on You. We'll get into that a little bit later. Can't wait to get this started. It's Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. Let's go. Well, welcome in everybody to the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. My name is Keith Brugman. I had a frog in my throat in the introduction. I'm feeling a little bit froggy today, man, because I got a couple of great co-hosts with me. We're talking Denver Bronco football, and we got all of you, the posse, ready to take aim and fire off some questions and comments, man. But like I said, got some great co-hosts with me. You know him as the Horseman. I'm going to say hello to Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick to get us started. How you doing tonight, Kenny?
I'm doing great. About 20 minutes ago, I broke the side of my glasses, so I'm going to do my best to get through to see all my notes and everything. But all joking aside, real quick, breaking news about 10 minutes ago. There's some trade talk rumors going on that the Broncos and Jets, with some rumors going on that Breece Hall could be coming Broncos' way. I think the Jets are looking for pick 20, so that's the question. But breaking news, so curious to see where that goes. And I just got that on one of my Facebook pages here that Breece Hall talks are starting to heat up.
Wow. No April Fool in us?
April Fools, guys. Happy April Fool's Day, everybody. Happy April Fool's Day, everyone.
I had to call it out. I was like, wow, you're kidding me. Oh.
Let's hope it comes
Thank
true.
You,
I would take Breece Hall in a second.
Taking Breece Hall in a second. There's Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick's hot take and April Fools right off the bat, but got to say hello to the judge as well. Welcome, Mr. Jody Moncrief. How you doing, sir?
What's up, everyone? Excited to talk Broncos football.
Pure, simple, to the point. He's not going to give you much more. We have full April Fool's joke from Kenny. Let's talk Broncos football. Let's go. I love it, Jody. Welcome in. The second episode back. It's so great to have you. It's great to have the posse too, man. Great to have the posse. We have Parole coming in saying hello. We have Ernie coming in saying go Broncos country only. Bo Nix for 6. Hello, Keith and friends.
My man, Ernie.
Everybody's friend, everybody's guy, Mr.
I'm gonna give him everybody's man title because everybody's friend is Michael, and he's
everybody's guy. We'll go with everybody's guy.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody's guy. Mr. Paul Schaefer saying, "What is happening, Keith? The kickoff rule change will help Mims." We're going to get into that, man, as we get into this owners meeting. Mr. Michael Ronquillo coming in here saying, "Good evening, Keith, Kenny, and Jody, and Go Bo Broncos, orange and blue hearts, mile high salute," and doing it the way that, boy, Michael only knows how. The one, the only Michael Ronquillo, 1,000 stars.
Thank
Michael, yeah, man, jeez, I just can't. You just blow me away, episode after episode. We appreciate you, Michael. Thank you. Can't wait to talk some football with you. Speaking of talking football with somebody, man, it was just last episode I was talking with this gentleman, Mr. Patrick Wiltsey. He's coming in saying, Aloha, Judge, Kenny, and the Brugs. Aloha to you, sir.
I have to thank him, Keith, on the K&K Sports Show side. We got our coffee deliveries. Personal thank you from myself, Carson, and Paul on the air. Thank you for your generosity, Patrick. We love the coffee and teas that you send us from Lion Coffee and Kona Coffee.
There you go. There you go. He's the shipping guy out there. He gets you all taken care of around the globe. Hit lioncoffee.com, unofficial sponsor of the Denver Bronco Roundup. And Mr. Albert Knoppers talking about a horseman coming in here saying, "Go Broncos. It will be an exciting year." I think it will be an exciting
21st
year.
birthday to Albert as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy birthday, Albert. Just a day or two ago, I think now. My days are all getting mixed together. I'm going multiple days in a row at my regular job. So happy birthday, Albert.
Keith, if I can I go off script for 20 seconds? Michael had a question, and everybody's friend Michael Ronquillo. If you haven't checked it out, Rocky Mountain Sports Network and K&K Sports Show teamed up for a mock draft on Sunday night. Myself and Trevor did a full first round mock. Go check us out. We had a lot of fun doing it. We had a couple added twists. Michael was in there and asked a great question. He wanted to know if there was any first round talent that have off the field issues. And I said I would do my homework on it, Michael. And I did find one, and I wanted to find one that I think may be like a long shot for the Broncos. Luther Burden III, in my opinion, from reading on some of his stuff, Michael, has some off the field issues. Bad practice player, according to scouts. And also the family could be a problem as well, which meaning the mom gets heavily involved. And I could see him being in play for the Broncos. I could see the Broncos still drafting Luther Burden because Sean Payton ain't going to fall for that. You know, he's a disciplinarian, Sean Payton, and he ain't going to go for that nonsense. But they said he was pampered at Missouri, and rightfully so. Missouri, not one of the top teams when it comes to the SEC, Georgia, Alabama. But to answer your question, Michael, I did my homework. Hopefully that helped you out a little bit. Luther Burden III could have some off-the-field issues.
There you go. There you go. Always great. Like, trying to get back to your questions, especially if we don't have that information. We're not going to sit here and try to, throw you some answer or make up anything on the fly. Appreciate Kenny taking the time out and making sure that we're giving back to our viewers, right? So I want to talk about these owners meetings, guys. This was another great owners meeting. As Sean Payton said, he was happy that he's not out there having to worry about a quarterback this year, not in that situation, in a different situation. And he talked about maybe how he addressed, or how he and the Denver Broncos, George Payton, the ownership group, all got together and addressed this team, the holes that they saw needed, what they did in free agency. I'm going to just go right over to you, Jody. What did you hear as you listened to those interviews? George Payton, Sean Payton, even Greg Penner, to that matter.
I think the big one that I took away was he kind of made the up the middle, the kind of the triangle, the slot wide receiver, your running back, and your tight end, that's going to be important this year. I think Evan Ingram fills maybe two spots. He fills that tight end role. He also fills the slot role, in my opinion. I mean, he played a lot from the slot. And I took that they're going to draft a running back. I mean, it's high priority. I mean, he mentioned it. Who, I don't know yet, but definitely expect them to take a running back, and I would expect it pretty high.
The triangle was very key, and I think that's something they have been trying to figure out. Again, they've failed to execute, as he said, over the middle, having a weapon in the tight end position, being able to open that up. And I think he's right with that too high shell that we're starting to see more and more and more from a lot of defenses. Being able to operate in that small space underneath the safeties is key. Being able to create mismatches and get the matchups that you want. And you can operate so efficiently that way. And that's right up Bo Nix's alley. I think that is a key takeaway. Trying to find that triangle of guys, right? The running back, the tight end, that slot wide receiver. And you're absolutely right. If I remember the statistic correctly, it was something like 58% of the time Evan Ingram was in the slot, and that was not with Sean Payton.
Right.
I think that goes up with Sean Payton. So, Kenny, you listen to all these interviews. I'd love to get your thoughts on this as well, sir.
Jody said it well. I got a couple short ones that I took out of this to add to what Jody said. Evan Ingram, the Joker, which what George Payton called him. We got our Joker, Evan Ingram. Tells me maybe now that tight end may not be a top priority in the first round. Assuming Tyler Warren's gone, and if Loveland's there, they may pass up on him because, as Jody alluded, running back to me sounded like top priority in these interviews as well. When they said we will draft one in this draft, tells me they like, and I'm going to throw a number out there. I think they like 5 to 6 running backs that they said we're going to draft one. We're definitely going to draft one in this draft. You can count on it being early in this draft, first or second round. But if there's a run on them in the first round, they probably got a couple more in the second round that they like. And I got a nice sleeper for everybody a little later when we talk about the running backs that I found. So those are the 2 top takeaways. And also DJ Jones. Don't be surprised if Broncos pass on the defensive tackle now because of them saying George Payton saying how DJ Jones, one of the top nose tackles in the league, and he was a priority for us to sign. So tells me that's not a top priority now. I know we mentioned Walter Nolan and Derek Harmon, some of those names. You may see them get passed up on for a playmaker type of offensive position here. Those are some of the takeaways I took from it, Keith and Jody.
And Posse. And all those out there listening to the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast and all our different platforms, man. I think there was a lot of things that you could end up taking. Clayton's coming in and saying, hey, guys, and always reminding us to smash that like button and please share. That would be fantastic. I took a lot of different things, I think, from these owners' meetings. I think the smoke show continues. I think, though, one quip, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. One quip that I pulled from Sean Payton was when he was asked about running backs and what traits he looks for since he was a running back coach. What traits do you look for? And he says, obviously, you'd love to have that 3 down back. And in this draft, I think there's a lot of, first and second down backs, and there's some 3rd down backs, but it's tough to find those true 3 down backs anymore. Getting tougher, but the one thing that he said, he goes, everyone says they need to take into account when someone's small or short and how they're built. But he says they never talk about tall. What does that mean to you, Jody? Does that mean anything in particular to you? What do you pull from that?
I think he likes the bigger running backs. One, it helps you in pass blocking, and I think that was a major reason Javonte Williams seen the field as much as he did. And I think it also helps in the receiving game. If you look at Alvin Kamara, I mean, he was big in the receiving game, and a taller wide receiver just gives you more range to catch the football, or running back. Sorry.
No, I get it, man. I get it. Getting all twisted and turned around at this time of year with all the different positions we talk about. So, yeah.
I agree with Jody.
Go ahead, Kenny.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut off there. I'm just looking at a couple running backs that fit that taller back role. Marion Hampton, Caleb Johnson. Ashton Genty's only 5'8", guys. Just keep that in mind when you're talking about these taller running backs. He's only 5'8", so it's kind of short for a running back.
Agreed. And I think you guys are right on track. My question is it a smoke show saying we want someone more like Omarion Hampton because he's a taller, bigger, runs more upright type of back? But maybe that 3 down back that Jody is alluded to here, or is he giving us a bunch of smoke show because Ashton Genty and Cam Scatabo is someone that he wants really on his radar? It's tough to say, man. I know that Sean Payton likes to be the master of deception, so I don't know if this is one of those instances or if he was speaking the truth here, because obviously the one thing that's not no secret is we're going to be picking a running back at some point in this draft. I don't think if they wanted to try to keep that a secret, even though we heard a little bit of, and we're excited about the guys that we have here, and I think it's a great opportunity for those guys with the competition that we'll be bringing in. Something that I know that the judge, Jody, you're happy to hear, because I think this training camp will be a fantastic battle in many different position groups, including Audric Estime, who we feel pretty good about. It shows in where we drafted him. You know what I mean? We shouldn't be giving up on him. Doesn't matter who we bring into this room, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a great battle with him already having 1 year of experience. Agree?
Well, that's where I think that's where it could be a smoke show. I mean, Audric Estime, he's 6 feet, 230. There's your big, bruising running back. I think if you gave Sean Payton true serum, I think he will admit that he used Audric Estime wrong last year. And I think he will admit that he messed up in the playoff game not dressing him.
Yeah, I think Sean definitely has a particular pathway he likes to take with guys. We saw it with Marvin Mims. We saw it with Riley Moss. I think we're seeing it with Audric Estime. It's a slow play. I'm going to start off with Kenny on this one. Phil's coming in here. He's dropping us some stars, and he's giving us a question. He says, good evening, Keith, Kenny, and Judge. What 3 players in this draft, if they would drop, would make you not drop back from the number 20 spot? Everyone's been talking about, hey, let's trade back. Let's trade back. Let's trade back. But at what point, give me 3 players, do you say, no, I'm not trading back. I'm picking right here? Who would they be?
I saw Phil's question come up, and I wrote down some names. First one's easy, Phil, but I don't think he's going to drop. It's Ashton Genty. I'll take the easy one first. But then I'm going to go Tetro and McMillan. I do think he's the number 1 wide receiver in this draft. I think he can be a Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison type player to come out of this draft. And the third one, I'm sorry, I know a lot of people either love him or hate him. If Omarion Hampton's there at 20, I'm taking Omarion Hampton. I like Omarion Hampton, and that would be my third guy, Phil, and maybe the surprise one out of the 3, that if he fell to 20, I would take him if I was the Broncos. I think he can be a game changer.
Jody, same names, different names. Any ones to add?
McMillan for me is the number 1, and that's a guy that I would even consider moving up for. Same with Tyler Warren. Those are probably the 2 guys that I want the most in this first round. And if they fall to you, you've got to take them. And the third guy, I don't really have a third guy. I guess Colston Leveland if he falls there.
Okay, very good.
I'm kind of hesitant on his medicals a little bit, but I mean, if he's there, and it's after what Sean Payton did last year with Bo Nix, taking a guy higher than what that Minnie said was where he was rated. I'm going to trust the process, because, I mean, that turned out more than all right.
There you go. Fair enough. I'm going to wrap in Peter's question, because it seemed like we've all kind of maybe answered this one along with it. He says, if no running back was taken at number 20, who would you take in that position? Who would you take as the first running back? I'm going to go with answering Phil's questions, the 3 that I wouldn't pass up on. Ashton Genty. And I think it's a trade up if you ever really want to go that route, and I wouldn't put it past this regime of doing something like that. Just want to put that out there. Second one, Tyler Warren, tight end, Penn State. I think he's something special. I think he's the closest thing to Rob Gronkowski I've seen since Rob Gronkowski came out. I'm not saying that he is that, but I think it's the closest thing I've seen. Lastly, I'll go a little off script too. I'll say if Kenneth Grant was there at number 20, that might be a guy that you go out there and you go take care of, guy out of Michigan, beast. And I think that you could still add depth, like the Denver Broncos have said, across those in the trenches, across those lines. So those are my three. One surprise one in there, maybe. So I want to see the
It's
posse.
funny.
You guys
Peter
are
and
like,
Kurt had the same question, so we can answer from both of them. Kurt's in the chat too. They both had the same question.
all right.
Omarion Hampton or Justin Genty, Keith?
All right. Well, why don't I go to you real quick as first and foremost? We'll get them both.
Genty's got to be number one, but Hampton is a clear number two for me. So I'm okay with either one of them two. I know some people don't like him, but I look at him as more of the Mark Ingram type running back that Sean Payton had in New Orleans. And later on, he can go get the Alvin Kamara receiving type back, get double up in the draft. And I would not be unhappy with Marion Hampton.
There you go. Jody, your answer to this one.
I think Hampton for me, just for size alone. I like the size. He played in a better conference. I'm a little hesitant on Genty just because of where he played.
Fair.
And he got a lot of wear on his tires the last couple of years. That worries me a little bit too. So, but they're both pretty close. And if you end up with either or, I would be happy.
It's funny you mentioned that wear on the tires. It brought me back to the owners' meeting when Sean Payton was happy about the free agents that he picked up in Evan Ingram and Drake Greenlaw and Hufanga, because one of the things he mentioned was their age and their snap counts and their lack thereof. These are guys that haven't had the wear and tear. So you do look like a guy like Ashton Genty and the type of numbers he was called upon to produce over the last 2 years up there in Boise State. And like you said, sometimes you have to put a little bit of I don't know, value or devalue when it comes to playing in a smaller conferences, and he obviously had that advantage where he played. So how does that translate over to the NFL? And that's what all those scouts are out there looking at and looking to do. For me, it's an easy Genty for me. I'll be honest. I think that Omarion Hampton is I've grown to like him more, but I'm not sold on him. I don't like his running style. I feel he's kind of Le'Veon Bellish in the way that he kind of hides behind the line and kind of waits for things to happen before he can take off in a lot of these instances. I think that he had a great offensive line in front of him. If you look at that North Carolina offensive line, they were mowing people down and pushing him downfield 1, 2, 3 yards before a lot of times he would even get his first touch and then get his yards after contact. So a lot of advantages. I think that I just hope, if we bring him on, he has all the ability that we want him to have, because he's being valued as a very high athlete. And I don't want to speak too badly about somebody who we might be taking at number 20 just 3 or 4 weeks from now. So
are you skittish because of Javonte Williams being from North Carolina as well, or does that not play into anything?
Not anymore. Just because of how diverse coaching staffs are now. They're always moving. How diverse players are through the transfer portal. I think it's really tough to say, this team is always producing this. I think that's going to be starting to fall by the wayside more and more. I think we'll see a lot more mix-up. I don't know if LSU will be wide receiver or Penn State will be linebacker. You know what I mean? You all the time, like we've kind of seen in the past. I think that we'll get a little bit more of that. So a little bit more diversity. So thanks for the question. David Youngkin, thanks for coming in. He says, I don't see Sean moving back in the draft like some people want. Also, Kurt Valente says, I'm not trading back. You need a grade A talent. Enough with a dropping back, running back, tight end, wide receiver at number 20. I want to get your thoughts on that. Do you think that we're going to be moving back? Do you truly think that that's the direction that this Denver Broncos team is leaning towards? Especially, I don't know. I'll just leave it open-ended. Kenny, I'll go to you first, sir.
No, I highly doubt it's a trade back. Being Sean Payton's never done it. I just don't see that happening. Just my opinion. You never know if the running backs are all off the board. Maybe there's a second tier of running backs that they like in the second round. They get an extra pick. Maybe that's the only way. But I'm going to say no on the trade back.
Over to you, Jody. Do you think that there's enough options there at 20 that they won't be trading back? High percentage chance they won't be trading back.
Yeah, I definitely don't think he's trading back. I think he's done it one time in his career, so I don't think so. I think the real smokescreen is wide receiver. He's said nothing. They've really never talked about it. And that's where I think the smokescreen is. And I think there's somebody in play and I'm hoping it's McMillan, that they might make a move up for. I think that's your smokescreen.
There you go. I love it, buddy, because it's one of the things I talked about, well, in my article. I really think wide receiver is one of those places, whether you look at the Cortland Sutton for 2 years in a row now, kind of be pulled out on a contract, doesn't really say, hey, I love you, let's get you all inked up and get you taken care of like a lot of other elite wide receivers are in this league, whether it be the slow development of Marvin Mims, but really being a special team Pro Bowler, and again, Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin needs to have a good second year. He was given some opportunities that were missed opportunities, I think, out there in year one. If they go out there and they get an elite wide receiver in that first round, it's going to completely shake up this wide receiver room, but also shake up the way this Denver Broncos team looks and operates.
Keith, if I may, real quick,
yes, sir.
While we're on wide receivers, Michael again sending us 100 stars. Thank you, Michael. He's saying ESPN had an article that wide receiver Tetero and McMillan would be an ideal fit for the Broncos offense.
Nice. I'm going to see if I could pull that up, but
thank you again, Michael, for the stars.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I love me some T-Mac. I think he is elite. I think I keep throwing these little comparisons out here. Now, this is a far one, okay? But if you look at him, if you squint, if maybe you put him in a green jersey, maybe he looks like, I don't know, a Randy Moss-ish type of guy. His ball control, his ability to elevate, he's not going to break off fantastic, cuts and routes deep down the field and the like. He's the type of guy that's going to go up over the top of you, have great body control, and rip down balls. And there's just a little bit of Randy Moss in there for me. Thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Michael Ronquillo. I think that T-Mac would be one of my favorites as well.
I see a lot of DT in him. DT was not the greatest route runner. He got a lot better as time went on. I mean, he had to with Manning here, but I mean, he was a big wide receiver that could go up and get the ball. And just in the back of my mind, Cortland, the way these wide receivers are getting paid and the numbers Sutton have put up the last 2 years, he's gonna want a piece of that. So
yeah, I agree, man. And it's the one thing I did hear out of it that Cortland Sutton is 100% expected to be in for all off-season activities from the get.
I heard that as well.
So for everything that might be going on behind the scenes in regards to a contract, and they always wait until after the draft now, and then they'll pick up discussions, and it might be anywhere from right after the draft all the way through the season, as George Payton mentioned at the ownership meeting. That's kind of their window of when they've been able to operate and get contracts done. So we don't know when that's going to be happening, but as far as Cortland Sutton is concerned, he wants to be in the building. He wants to be part of the Denver Broncos and what they're doing moving forward. Just a really quick, I don't think I said hello to Mr. Roy Osborne. He said, "Hey there, Horseman and the posse." Just wanted to say again, hello, and how you doing? He says, as long as we don't reach at 20, I'll be good no matter the position. I'm not going to reach here. I'm going to absolutely not reach. I'm going to tell you about our fantastic sponsor, and that's Morgan Trinkets. Morgan Trinkets has been your headquarters for Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, and Estate Gold at wholesale prices for 34 years. Once a nationwide company, now they're just in your backyard, northern Colorado, southern Wyoming. They're doing shows left, right, and otherwise. Make sure if there's any type of little show going on in your community or neighboring community, any gem shows or anything like that, might want to just check to see if Morgan Trinkets is around if you're happen to be stumbling on through. But you don't have to just stumble upon Morgan Trinkets. You can head on right over to Etsy. Etsy is your place, and you have to type in Morgan Trinkets Co. That's Morgan Trinkets Co. I'll even help you out there, just right there. Morgan Trinkets Co. Is the way to get to, well, the fantastic treasures that Pearl has to offer. Like I said, Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, Estate Gold at wholesale prices, as well as silver, 100% sterling silver. All orders over $50 shipped absolutely free, and all major credit cards are accepted. Check out Morgan Trinkets. Again, your headquarters, Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, and Estate Gold at wholesale prices. Do it today, right over on Etsy. All right. Gentlemen, I want to get over, we talked a little bit about the owners' meetings. I wanted to hit some rule changes. Kenny, you were talking about this. We'll hit that real quick, and then I want to get over to a couple of our other segments, if that's all right.
Okay, yeah, I'll just mention a couple of the new rule changes that took into effect for this upcoming year. First one I think is going to help, and I saw somebody earlier. If you're in the chat, it was early in the chat. They mentioned it. Might have been Paul. If it was somebody else, I apologize. First rule I think is going to help Mims out tremendously, and that's the touchback rule is now going to go to the 35-yard line as opposed to the 30-yard line. So I think you're going to see a lot more fun in special teams this year, and you're going to see some returns again in the special teams, and that's going to make it more fun. The second one I think is going to can hurt you or could help you. Overtime rule. Both teams are automatically going to get a chance to have the ball on offense. I think you may see more ties, or you may see more teams lose or win a game because they don't go for the tie at the end. They go for the win. Mm-hmm. Could be a little more exciting. I don't care for that one as much. Those are the two big rule changes that took effect at the owners' meeting so far. A couple other ones. One that failed was the Lions proposed. I'll just name the one that proposed. Tush push is at a standstill. They're going to vote on that later on. And the last one was that significant one that did not pass. The Lions proposed illegal contact and defensive holding should not be automatic first downs. That got declined.
There you go. I'm going to add one more, and then I'm going to go over to Jody. They did allow flag reversals on plays. So now hits to a defenseless players, face mask, horse collar, tripping, and running into or roughing the kicker. All those flags can be picked up now. So things that we hadn't seen in the past, those can be picked up, and that's good. I think that's a fantastic things that they're allowing things like that to be picked up. No throwing of flags that didn't actually get thrown to begin with, though. They're still not allowing, post play flags, to be thrown. Jody, anything else that you took from rules that happened and rule changes?
No, you guys covered it pretty well. The one I wanted to see was the automatic first down. I wanted that one changed, but
me too.
Yeah.
And the play that sticks in my mind is the one in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. I mean, on a little ticky-tack play like that, that's an automatic first. I don't like that. But on the other side, I've heard people say when it's 3rd and 20, you'll just maul wide receivers if you get beat and take the 5-yard penalty. So I can see both ways, but when it's a little ticky-tack hold call and you get an automatic first, I hate that call.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I'm going to run through some more comments before we get to your segment. Phil says, now that we have signed a third QB, sounds like something that Jody wanted to talk about. Do you think that we draft one as well? Jody, Sam Ehlinger comes in as a QB3. What do you think about Sam Ehlinger, and does he, take quarterback off the table for the NFL draft?
Yeah, I think it takes it off the table for the draft. I think this might be, if you dive into the numbers a little bit, especially from college, a Taysom Hill light. And I thought I heard something like 33 rushing touchdowns in college. So I could see maybe some packages of something like they use with Taysom Hill. He's not the passer of Taysom Hill, but if you go back and look at him in Texas and stuff, he had a lot of rushing yards and a lot of rushing touchdowns.
There you go, man. Like it. I'll be honest, I had to recall some Sam Ehlinger in my mind, and it was not coming, so I'm glad you remembered the breakdown on Sam and what he was able to do. Maybe a little Taysom Hill light. Kenny?
I'll just add one thing real quick. I think bold prediction. I think you got a better chance of the Broncos drafting a punter over the third quarterback. You still bring in an undrafted quarterback, Phil, but I just don't think they're going to draft one. I think those draft picks are too valuable, and to draft a possible third string quarterback in the 6th round, I think would be a big reach and an unnecessary pick, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So, I did put up there, Pearl. It sounds like, Pearl, you need to head on out to the Adams County Fairgrounds. There's a dog show out there, and I don't know if she'll be doing Morgan trinkets as well as showing her dog, but she says,
she did mention
plus watch my Yoda.
Yeah. Good luck, Yoda. Go get him, Yoda. Let us know, Miss Pearl, how Yoda did.
Absolutely, man. Hope she does well, and get your corgi out there. Show her off. First I wanted to say hello to Mr. David McElrath coming in over on YouTube. Always good to say hello to you, and good evening, Broncos country, he says. One of the horsemen coming in saying, this draft has some good wide receiver talent. Day 2 as well. Jaden Higgins, Trey Harris, Jack Beck, Isaiah Bond, and Savion Williams. Lots of deeper names that we could end up talking about between now and draft night, man, which will be fun. Kenny.
So I'll just say, good names that Trevor put up there. It's definitely a good day 2 draft in wide receivers. I agree with Trevor.
Very good. Kenny, like I said, we want to get to a few different segments. I still want to make sure that we'll do the April Fool on you. And besides that, let's do some rankings of this AFC West. I know that you play on this piece. I think it's a great one.
It's a good one, and I think it could be done fast. It's a one that the chat can play along with as well. Pre-draft rankings, where our rosters stand now in the AFC West. I want to rank these 4 teams in the AFC West in these certain positions. So the first one's going to be simple. We're going to do quarterbacks. So we have Patrick Mahomes, Bo Nix, Geno Smith, and Justin Herbert. I'll go to Keith first, 4-1, 1 being the best.
You want me to count them down 4-1, 1 being the best?
Yeah.
All right. Got to go Geno 4. I mean, again, here's a guy that's trying to revive his career, and multiple stops now. Obviously, maybe Pete Carroll can get some of the best out of him. Yet to be seen. I think the AFC West is going to be so freaking competitive. Don't hate me, Broncos country. I'm going to put Bo Nix number 3. He's a rookie. He's still up and coming. I got to see year 2. I think that number 2, I'm going to put Justin Herbert. Again, a guy that has shown that he can do it all when called upon, even if his coach and his defense lets him down, or he can be that game manager under a John Harbaugh. And I think good things could very well be coming to the Chargers as well. And until proven differently, it's going to be tough not to say Patrick Mahomes is not one.
Right. Jody, I'm going to go next and let you get the final word. I'll be the middle guy since I'm the Giants and converted Bronco fan. I'm with Keith 4, but it's closer to me with number 4, Geno Smith. 3, I'm going Justin Herbert. He has not won anything big yet. Let's hope he doesn't win anything big, because I do think the rivalry is going to be Broncos-Chargers for the next 10 years. That's going to be the future rivalry in this division. But I'm going to go Herbert number 2. I'm going to go Bo Nix number 2, Herbert 3, because Bo Nix has really sold me. Yeah, I like that comment, Phil. And of course, like you just said, Keith, Mahomes has got to be number 1 until you beat Mahomes. Mahomes has got to be up there, but closer than you think. It's getting closer. Yep. Jody, where are we going with?
My list is exactly the same as yours. And the reason I have Nix over Herbert is the Chargers wasted Herbert. I mean, they had him on a rookie deal. They won nothing. They've paid him big, and they still have won nothing. He's won no playoff games yet, and that means something to me. I mean, you can say the same thing about Nix, but he is a rookie, and that is why I think you see Denver going all in, because now is when you got to do it when these quarterbacks are on a rookie deal.
Yeah, well said. And we're going to do this again, I think, post-draft to see how many of our numbers change here. I just thought of that the wheels are turning as we're doing the segment. I got offenses next. I'll let Jody start with this one, Jody. So I did the position players. I named 3 on each team. For our Broncos, Jaleel McLaughlin right now, I would put him at the running back. If you want to put Estime, you can. Sutton and Ingram. We got for the Chargers, Najee Harris, Ladd McConkey, and Tyler Conklin, who their tight end they just signed. For the Raiders, Raheem Mostert, Brock Bowers, and Jacoby Myers. And for the Chiefs, Isaiah Pacheco, Xavier Worthy, and Travis Kelce, Jody. 4-1.
4 for me is probably the Chiefs. I think Travis Kelce is, I mean, if you go and watch breakdown of the Super Bowl, I mean, he gave little effort in that game. He wasn't blocking. He was doing nothing. I don't think they really wanted him to come back. So that's a win for the rest of the AFC, in my opinion. I'll go 3, the Chargers. 1, they don't have any chemistry. I mean, new tight end, new running back with Herbert. Ladd McConkey coming off his rookie year. 2, I'll go the Raiders. I think Jacoby Myers is very underrated. And I think Brock Bowers proved that he's probably a top 3 tight end in this league right now after 1 year. And then I'll go Denver number 1. I mean, I think Cortland Sutton, he's very underestimated. You can say he's a 2 or whatever, but he's a 1 for this team. And I think Evan Ingram is going to fit this Joker role perfectly for what Sean Payton wants.
Nice, Jody. That was definitely a different route that I was going to go because I think mine are going to change after the draft. Number 4, I am going Chargers. You said no chemistry. McConkey had a nice year, but they bring over Najee Harris, who's a question mark in my opinion, and Tyler Conklin. It's like a borderline 15 tight end. I'm going Raiders 3. Raheem Mostert right now. That don't sell me at running back. Yeah, they got Brock Bowers. And Jacoby Myers is underrated, I agree. But number 2, I got to put this is tough. I'm putting the Broncos number 2 because after the draft, they're going to be number 1. So I want to put them number 2 right now. And I got to put the Chiefs there at 1 right now. But after the draft, they'll probably be number 4. So that's going to flip-flop. So that's my strategy in doing the ranking for the offenses. Keith.
I'm on the opposite side of Jacoby Brissett or Jacoby Myers. I'm sorry. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put the Raiders in that last slot. As great as Brock Bowers is, I'm not sold on much else. I like Najee Harris. I like obviously what the Chargers have done, Ladd McConkey and the like. So I think I want to put them in the 3rd position. But I'll tell you what, this is so tight. This is a great question when it comes to this. I'll do it. I'm gonna put the Broncos right at the top. I'll put the Chiefs in the number 2 slot. I'll put the Broncos in the top slot. I think there's still a lot of hay to be made in that running back room, and when you look at everything else around there, I think you have to be really happy about this way this triangle is kind of set up, even if it happens to be the outside wide receiver. So
No.
I'll go Broncos number 1.
I love it, and let's hope they stay number 1 and they move up to number 1 after the draft for me, and I think they could. So, last one I got is defense. Let's go back to Keith starting off. So for our Broncos, I wrote down Nick Bonito. I put the newcomer Dre Greenlaw in PS2. For the Chiefs, we got Chris Jones, Nick Bolton, and Trent McDuffie. For the Raiders, for the Chargers, I put Khalil Mack, Bud Dupree, and Derwin James. And for the Raiders, we got Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, and Devin White.
All right. I'll just make it quick so that we can get through it all, and you guys have a little bit of time as well. Chargers looks like the weak man on this totem pole, and if you go through all those names, I don't think you can disagree. Raiders, I'll put in the 3rd position. Max Crosby is a beast, and I think that it gets difficult with the pieces that they're putting together, and they're getting better. So it's something to watch out for. Number 2 is I'll go ahead and I'll put the Chargers. I think that Khalil Mack had a little bit of a resurgence, and he'll be called upon quite a bit. And I think I like Derwin James as well. But I'm going to go ahead and I'll put the Broncos right there at the very top. I think that's if playing healthy, you're talking about some scary individuals when you start talking about those 3 guys when it comes to Nick Bonito, Dre Greenlaw, and PS2.
Yeah, I couldn't agree. I couldn't disagree with you there, Keith. I apologize. I want to get to the posse. Just a couple people have been playing along. Let me read theirs. I've lost track. Ernie with the quarterbacks was Bo Nix, Mahomes, Herbert, Gino. And then for the offenses was Broncos, Chargers, Chiefs, Raiders. Don't care for the players. And then Michael was playing along as well. He's saying Bo Nix was the future of the AFC West. And then he had the Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers, and Raiders for offenses. And Ernie for the defense, Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders. Thank you guys for playing along. Ms. Pearl said Broncos, Chargers, Raiders as well. For me, I'll go quick and let Jody get the final say here. Chargers, like you said, Keith, I think they're better. You're getting old on defense, letting Bosa go. They're number 4 right now. 3 of the Raiders, they got the best player, one of the best players on defense in the whole league. So that alone doesn't put them in the basement. They get number 3 with Max Crosby leading the way. Number 2, they're close, but they're not that close to the Broncos, in my opinion. They're a clear number 2, and that's the Chiefs. Chris Jones, McDuffie on the back end. I like that. And the Broncos can only go up from where they were last year with Greenlaw and Fonga stay healthy. This defense is going to be top 5 with a chance to be the top defense in the league next year. So number 1, Broncos. Jody.
I'll flip your 2 and 3. I had the Chargers 4, Kansas City 3, Raiders 2, just because of Max Crosby. He is probably, if not the best defensive lineman, he's top 2 or 3. And then, just like you guys said, Denver, you already had a top 3 defense, and you only made it better. You improved the 2 positions that I thought were the weakest on this team. You're getting 2 middle linebackers back this year and a safety that was a weak link for this defense. That's how I would rank them.
I think you guys did very well. Posse, you guys nailed it as well. I think this was a fun segment. I think it'll be a continuation after the draft to see how much changes. But a nice, fun segment leading up to the draft. I think it was something different that we didn't see a lot of people doing. So I think it was fun. And thank you guys for the participation in the posse.
Yeah, it's going to be fun because, like you said, these are some pre-draft ideas of maybe where we stand in the division, and you never know once the NFL draft day rolls around exactly how it's going to change for each individual team, including our beloved Denver Broncos, who we only hope the very best, get the best talent out there, get best players available. They've set themselves up for that. I want to say hello to Captain. He says, "Hey, I made it," and he says,
What's up, Captain?
"Our division is going to be a mean bunch. Look out, NFC."
And real quick, Heath, the last Michael just gave us his defenses. He agrees with Jody. Broncos, Raiders, Chiefs, Chargers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you guys for playing along.
Yeah, Michael saying Broncos have some dogs on the Broncos defense. And, that was one of the things that Sean Payton also said in that owners meeting is he loved just the tenacity that they've been able to bring on with this team, with these players. He said, I think you guys are really going to love Hufanga. Obviously, Dre Greenlaw, he was really happy with that. And even talked about the fact that, and something that we alluded to, and I thought that might have been the case, DJ Jones, Dre Greenlaw, Hufanga, they all played together at one point with the on the San Francisco 49ers. So kind of a reunion of sorts as they all get back onto the field for the Denver Broncos. Jody, it looks like you had a mic question.
No, well, that just goes back to the middle again. I mean, he said it multiple times. Re-signed DJ Jones, two new starting linebackers. I'm counting Alex Singleton. I mean, he only played 2 games last year, and Hufanga. So, I mean, he knew that Denver got exposed in the Buffalo game, especially against the run game, and he knows that that's where it was exposed right there.
Yep. Also like the way that he said, sometimes you find guys that are first responders and second responders, guys who rally and are the second responder, and then those guys that are out there and, are the first ones to make the hit. And he said that's one of the things he liked about Hufanga was the fact that he was a first responder, that he goes out there.
One other thing I'm excited about, too, is how much the 49ers pursued Dre Greenlaw after he had committed to us. I mean, and the more and more you hear, they really did not want to lose him. They flew to Texas. I heard Kyle Shanahan today. I mean, he went on for about 5 minutes of what a leader he is and how they wanted him back, and they did everything they could to get him back. So if he's 100% healthy, I'm very excited about, we haven't had that kind of linebacker since probably from the Super Bowl team. I'm drawing a blank, but we haven't had a linebacker like that since then. So Danny Trevathan, we haven't had a linebacker. I was going to say Trevathan that that could cover and that could do multiple things like that since him. So
I agree. Unique specimen. Can't wait. Jesse, you're coming in late. Who are your preferred first 3 picks for the Broncos? 20, 52, 85. That's way too much at this point in the show. But you're no. We're gonna hold it to. I just want to hold it to our number 20. Who's your preferred number 20? And we're gonna get back to Jesse on the next episode about our 52 and 85 because I want to put a little bit of time into it and give him a good quality answer. Jesse, please come back for 52 and 85. But I'll start with Jody. If you had any preference at number 20, what would it be, Jody?
Oh, for me, it's McMillan or Warren. Those are the 2 guys that I want, and I have said that I would move up to get either one of them.
And if you had the choice between the 2,
McMillan,
T-Mac, it is. Kenny, where are you going at number 20? You're your preferred number 20.
I'll double up on T-Mac, but I'm gonna throw a name out there that's not gonna make Michael very happy and some other people happy. I'm sold on Amarian Hampton.
Very good.
Jesse, I'm sold on him.
There you go, Jesse. You got a couple different positions there, a couple different ways you can go. I'm gonna give you one more then, because I don't think you pass up on Tyler Warren if he's sitting there. Like I said, I love me some Tyler Warren. If for some reason Tyler Warren was sitting there at number 20, that would be my number. That would be my preferred. And again, taking into context that some players aren't going to be there, I think there's always a possibility. We don't know how this exactly shakes out. Tyler Warren might be the biggest stretch, but I think T-Mac, Amarian Hampton, I think those are really good opportunities and possibilities and plausibilities at number 20. Check back for 52 and 85. I promise we'll get back to you. Kenny, April Fool's on you. Kick it away, man, as we almost wrap it up and get out of here.
Fun April Fool's Day question Keith brought up on our Giant show on the K&K network last year. And in lights of April Fool's, who were you guys, Keith and Jody and Posse, you play along. Who were you most fooled by? Meaning, turned out to be a complete bust that you absolutely loved. I'll throw an example out there. New York Giant fan. I was completely fooled. April Fools on me. Ron Dane. Ron Dane was an elite college running back. I bought the blue jersey, I bought the white jersey, and I bought the alternate red jersey. That they started alternate jerseys back then. I had all 3 Ron Dane jerseys, and he turned out to be a complete bust. Loved him in college, did not pan out for the Giants. So I'm going to ask Jody, I'll ask Keith, Posse, who are you fooled by? I think I know somebody. I think I have an idea of a name that's going to be mentioned, but I'd like to see a couple names out there because I know there's more than one out there. But Jody, who are you completely fooled by Broncos drafting that turned out to be a bust?
Oh, for me, it was Paxton Lynch.
I knew that name was coming out.
And just some of the stories that you hear that, I mean, he wanted to play video games over studying his book. I didn't realize that, at Memphis, his play calls were like 3-word plays. Yeah, I mean, he had big arm, but other than that, he fooled us, and I think it is kind of why we are in the situation we are. It forced us to go get Russ. So yeah, he fooled us the most, in my opinion.
Yeah, Ernie's saying Paxton was a joke, and Phil's got a good one. Greg Dulcich was a bust. Keith, I know you got some. I know you got some out there, and more than just Paxton Lynch. I'm sure you got another name.
I'll go with one. I don't know if I want to say he was just an outright bust, but where I thought he was going to be compared to maybe where his career was as a Denver Bronco, I thought this guy was going to go out there, and I thought he was going to be the next big wide receiver in the league. When we went out there and we got Ashley Lilly.
Yeah, that was who I was thinking of.
I was so sold on all his abilities and capabilities, and just a guy that never took off, not to the level that I thought was capable for him. I'm sure he would have probably liked to done more as well, but yeah, just a disappointment in my opinion, and put together a couple of good seasons even though.
Bradley Chubb, that's a good one from Miss Pearl. I like that. He was good, but not as good as we all thought he was going to be. So that's a good answer there. Another giant one for me. Most recently, Daniel Jones. How can you not? So a lot of people like Daniel Jones. I wasn't one that was truly in love with him, but my co-host on K&K loved him. Paul Rosen, and Paul knows I'm not calling him out. Paul was wrong. April Fool's on him. We'll see how he is with the Colts now. He might beat out Anthony Richardson. If you can't beat out Anthony Richardson, go to the UFL. That's all I'll say on that. But a little fun April Fool's Day with everybody. Like to celebrate all the holidays of the year, and April Fool's is definitely one of them. So a little twist on April Fool's on Denver Bronco Roundup.
Michael doesn't get fooled by any April Fool's jokes.
Ernie's saying Pookie.
Oh yeah, Pookie. That's at least you got to kind of feel a little bit for Pookie and the injury that maybe caused him to be fooled on him, because he might have had a little bit different outcome if he wouldn't never ran into that. Congratulations to Captain. He says I got my transmission done and it goes, which is always good. He's also saying that he's changed his name. His name is now Orange Law. I think that's. I think he's saying I changed his name from Green Law to maybe to Orange Law. There you go.
I like that. Real quick, Keith, if you don't mind, a running back I wanted to throw the name out for the Posse and everybody that wasn't mentioned. Woody Marks. Don't be surprised if he's in the top 5 for the Broncos. Book I Follow's got him ranked number 7 for running backs. Strengths: smooth lateral mover who showcased an ability to change lanes and create traffic against LSU. One more sentence. Balance improved significantly in his final year, and he looked much better dealing with contact. Ability to impact both the pass and run games will help to keep him on the field for longer stretches. His vision shines when he gets in the open field, and he's an elite pass catcher, they say. Pro comparison, Alvin Kamara. They got him projected 3rd or 4th round. There's your possible second pick, running back pick, maybe back end of the first tier running backs for the Broncos. Don't be surprised.
I don't know if Kenny, I don't know, Kenny, if Kurt is still out there, but if he is, you just whipped his head around like that when you said that. Alvin Kamara, look out. Well, gentlemen, I want to get around to some final thoughts. I'll kick it off with Jody, man. Some final thoughts. We had, like I said, all these owners meetings where we've gotten through the majority of free agency. We're prepping for the draft, and we got an amazing posse that came along for the ride.
I'm ready for the draft to get here. We've got a couple little holes to fill on this team. But the turnaround in 2 years from where we were when Hackett was the coach to now, what we've done in the last 2 years to improve this roster and do a makeover in the 180 is pretty impressive. People wanted George Payton out of here, and what he's, some of the picks that he's been able to do. Just that people wanted Justin Fields over PS2, and that turned out to be an awesome pick. They've been just adding great player after great player. And I'm excited to see what they do in this first round, because if they move up, I think that tells you that they feel that they're one player away and they're going all in. They know that this is when you got to do it on Nick's rookie contract. So I can't be more excited. The turnaround in the last couple of years where it was to where it is now.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Judge speaking the truth. Of course the judge would be speaking the truth. Thank you, Judge, man. That's a great way to wrap it up, man. What a great position to be in. Sean Payton loves it. He's not hunting for a quarterback. He's building his team, and he's building us to be, competitors in the AFC West. Take down the Chiefs. Kenny, some final thoughts.
And people wanted to come here. I mean, that's, people wanted to play with Knicks. Ingram, he picked Knicks over Justin Herbert. I mean, that says a lot right there, in my opinion.
100%.
Keith, in my final thoughts, I'll read Phil. He did send stars, and we missed them. I see the comment, but I don't see the amount of stars. So I apologize, Phil, but I'll read the comment. It's about the new rule on uniforms, and I think it's a good way to wrap up the show.
Yes.
We get to see throwbacks 3 times and alternates once or twice. Love it. I do too, Phil. I would like to see, correct me if I'm wrong, Keith and Posse, but the Broncos have never done the old school maroon uniforms that they had way back in the day, right? I've never seen them do that as a throwback. I say that because the Giants had those a lot of people didn't like those hideous Montreal Canadian hockey uniforms that they wore this year.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see the Maroons come out. You see, when you talk old school, you see the 80s Broncos with the Elway, but you don't see the early 50s and 60s uniforms of the old school days. Throw that out one game. Just saying. If we're going to do old school, let's go really old school, Phil. But no, I like it too. And thank you, Keith, Jody. Awesome show. And thank you, Posse. You guys nailed it as always. And happy April Fool's Day. You got an hour and a half on the East Coast and 3.5 hours on the West Mountain time zone to fool somebody. So go get those April Fool Day jokes out there. Last call.
There you go. Phil, sorry I missed the stars. I think my phone actually died in about mid podcast, or at least towards the end here. So I wasn't able to see them all. But you're absolutely right, man. I love this rule. It gives us more opportunity to do probably what a lot of Broncos country thought we should have done to begin with, and that's have those D helmets, those original 80s looking uniforms as our main uniform. Maybe we'll be able to see that just a little bit more. Sounds like that's going to be the case. And even Greg Penner said, that maybe they were a little bit fooled with the survey that they put out prior to making a lot of changes, and are hearing a little bit more better feedback, like bring back those jerseys and those helmets we all love.
He did say he hates
Can you put up Karen's comment real quick? The one she's
just
not
a second. I'll get to Jody
schools.
And then I'll get to you, Kenny.
Okay. Which ones did he say? The blue pants and the orange shirt or something? That's the one I think Penner said we will not be wearing this year.
There you go.
There was one
I just want the
back
Karen's
combo.
comment. Not a fan of the old schools now, the new ones. They look Walmart, LOL. But that could be the plan for the Penners because they own Walmart to make them look Walmart quality there, Karen. Just throwing that out there. You never know how the Penners.
That uniform that they wore versus the Raiders this year, that, in my opinion, is the best uniform in sports.
It was tight.
I love that combo.
Yep, it was looking good. It was looking good. Looking good was my fantastic co-host, Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick. Thank you very much. The stepfather, our final horseman, Judge Jody Moncrief. Thank you very much, man. You guys' insights and your thoughts and your preparation for these shows, we appreciate it. I know the posse appreciate it. I do as well. To the posse, man, thank you. You're all amazing. From all the amazing star givers, Michael and Phil, to everyone that jumps in here and is just a part of the conversation. We appreciate you so much, man. Tell you what, there's more sidetracking and going along on shows because of the comments, the thoughts, the ideas, and just the overall Broncos knowledge that you guys bring every single episode to the show. We go live every Tuesday, every Friday, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We have emergency podcasts. We have right after the game is finished podcast. We have draft podcasts. You don't want to miss anything. Make sure you hit the like, share, subscribe. The subscribe's the big one. Make sure that you always know when we go live. We're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Of course, you're catching us maybe here on Facebook right now. Appreciate all the love. Appreciate all the love to Morgan Trinkets. They'll be out there at the Adams County Fairground. It's a dog show, and they're showing off their Morgan Trinkets. Make sure you go out there and check them out as well. But that being said, we are going to get out of here. Like I said, a few extra minutes for everybody. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. We sure enjoyed you, but we're going to get out of here the way we always do. Keep those boots in the stirrups, guns in the holsters, and, of course, the Denver Broncos right there in your heart. Until next time, everybody, we're going to get out of here. Have a great night.